Alright, let's install Visual Studio Code for the first time on our Windows system. To do that, open your favorite browser and go to code.visualstudio.com. And here you will see that there's a download for Windows button. If you're using macOS or Linux, there are download links for these operating systems as well. But because we're using Windows, I'm just going to go ahead and download this for Windows. So the download will start here, and it's 88.8 megabytes, and depending on your internet speed, it may take a while. Alright, once your download is complete, just go ahead and open up the installer by clicking on it and accept the terms and conditions and agreement and press next. So this is the path that Visual Studio Code will be installed on. Just leave it as default. Click next. Next. You can go ahead and create a desktop icon, but that is not necessary. So just gonna leave everything as default. Press next and install. Alright, now the installation is complete. We can go ahead and finish this, and you can start using Visual Studio Code in your Windows machine. You can open up a new folder. Let's say I'm going to create a new folder, code, select, and now we have the project folder, and we can start using Visual Studio Code to write or edit or debug any codes that we have. Now that we have VS Code installed on our computer, we can just go ahead and find it from search. You can just search in code and it will show up as a first match. Just click on it. It will open up the VS Code program. Now, one of the great things about VS Code is being able to add some extensions and more functionalities to it, to add some features or new features to VS Code. To do that, you can just simply find the extensions tab at the left hand side, or just click Ctrl+Shift+X, or just click on this extension and it will open up the extension library. You can search for different extensions here. There are popular extensions which is showing here as well. One of the popular ones, if you're developing in Python, is Python IntelliSense. You can find it at the top of a popular list here. So to install that, you can just press install and it will go ahead and install the Python IntelliSense on our VS Code. So the Python IntelliSense is for auto-completing Python commands, or it helps us to debug the codes and much more other functionalities as well. So it's a really great extension to add if you're a Python user. Another great extensions that I recommend to install is called Remote Development. You can search it from the search bar here. Just type in Remote Dev or just Remote, and you can find it here on the results, Remote Development. So this extension is to connect to remote servers and develop on remote servers using VS Code through SSH connections. You can use WSL and develop on WSL using this extension pack, and bring up VS Code from Windows Subsystem for Linux. If you don't have WSL installed on your computer, I have a video tutorial to show you how to do that, you can just check in my videos and install WSL. Now that we have remote development installed, I'm just gonna show you how we can use a VS Code from WSL. So I'm just gonna close here. I can open a new terminal and open Ubuntu WSL terminal. Here, this is a Linux terminal, Ubuntu Linux terminal. So you can just list your folders. You can cd into your project folder, in my case codes, and now we're in the codes project folder. And if you want to develop something here, start writing or editing new code here, and we want to use VS Code, we can just simply type in the code command, which is just code and then dot, and press enter. So if you do that for the first time, this command will go ahead and download and unpack VS Code for us. So it will kind of connecting the VS Code to the WSL command line or WSL terminal. So if you do that for the first time, it might take a while, but the next time you type in code dot, it will immediately bring up the VS Code. So for now, we're just gonna wait until the downloading and unpacking is finished, and we'll come back when it's done. All right, now the downloading and unpacking is complete. You can see that the VS Code is opened up here, and the project directory that we can see here is the code project directory. For example, if I open a file here, let's say test.py, and enter, it will automatically recognize this file is a Python file, and it shows the Python logo here because we installed the Python IntelliSense. And at the bottom here, it's showing that the VS Code is connected to WSL Ubuntu terminal. So what that means is that if we go to the codes directory in WSL and type in ls, you see that test.py is created here too. So this is directly connected to this directory. And whatever you do here is gonna get saved in this directory on WSL. Now that we have WSL and VS Code installed on our Windows machine, how can we go and start writing Python code? To do that, we need to install Python in our system. There are two ways that we can go about this. One is installing Python directly on Windows and using Python there. Another one is using a package manager or environment manager. One of the famous or highly used environment managers is called Anaconda or Conda. So Conda is to manage different packages for different projects. For example, you can have Python 3.9 for one project and use Python 3.10 for another project, and they will not interfere with each other. They're completely separate packages or environments which you can set up and use for different projects. So you can install either Anaconda or Miniconda. I recommend using Miniconda because it's the light version of Anaconda, and it's free as well. To install Miniconda on our system or on our WSL system, just open up your favorite browser and go to this website, docs.conda.io en/latest miniconda.html. Just press enter, and on this official Conda platform, you can find Linux installers, because we want to install on Linux or WSL system, which is Ubuntu. We have to go to the Linux installers. You can find Windows installers here as well. Just click on Windows installers there if you want to directly install it on Windows. But since we just want to install it on our Windows subsystem for Linux, we can go to the Linux installers. There are different versions of the Conda or Mini Conda. They are for Python 3.10 to Python 3.7. We're just going to go ahead and install the latest one, which is Python 3.10. So what we need to do is grab this file here. We can just copy the link for this file. Just copy the link because we want to download it from our terminal, and the code for that is just wget and paste the link here, press enter, and the wget will download that URL for us. So wget is a Linux command to download from internet. So Mini Conda, it's a lightweight version, so it's not that big. The file is not that big, so it's not gonna take much to download. Now the download is complete, and we can go ahead and install the file. But before installing this file, just to make sure that the file is actually from the official website of Mini Conda, we use official website, but just to make sure they provide hash keys. So in front of each file there is a hash key provided for us. This is just to make sure that the file that we downloaded is intact and no one touched it or added any extra code to it. If someone adds some extra code or manipulates the file, the hash here will be different. The hash that we are going to generate now in a second will be different from this hash key. To make sure that they are the same, you just enter this command sha256sum and enter the file name in front of this, the file that we just downloaded, which is miniconda 3, Py 310, etc., and press enter. So when you do that, this will generate a hash key for us for this file. We have to make sure the hash key that generated here is exactly the same as the hash key that they published on the website, the official website of Conda. So if you can see, they are exactly the same. It ends with DB6, both end with DB6 and start with 00938, C35, etc. But yeah, we can see that they're both the same. So we can be sure that this file was intact and actually from official website of the Conda. So we can now go ahead and install this this file into our WSL terminal or Ubuntu terminal here. So to install this file, you just need to write the name of the file. Let me see if we have the file downloaded here. Yes, and the name of the file, Miniconda. Let me just copy and paste the name of the file. Miniconda, permission denied. Maybe if I use sudo, Miniconda. Just want to run this. Oh, okay, so because this is the SH, we need the bash command. So you write bash and the name of the file and press enter. There you go. And then you can install this file. So it says we need to review license agreement. To do that, press enter. To continue, I'm just going to press enter and it will show you the terms and conditions and the license agreements. So just go ahead and go through this. Just you need to agree with this and type in yes to agree with that. And here it asks you to add the path for the installment. So the default path is going to be home and your name and Miniconda 3. I recommend using it as default. You can just press enter to leave it as default. So the Miniconda will be installed there. So it's a quick process. It's installed now. It's asking to initialize the Miniconda. You can go ahead and enter yes, and the Miniconda will be initialized next time that we come here. So to check that, I'm just gonna open a new terminal, and there it is, the base that's showing here. It says that we are in Miniconda base environment. So this is the default environment for Miniconda. To check that we have this as an environment, we can just list all the environments using conda env list, and it will show all the environments here. So we only have the default environment, which is base, which is created for us. We can now go ahead and create a new environment and add new packages to it, and so on for each project that we use. Because conda comes with Python already, we can just use Python now from this base environment, and I'll show you that we have Python actually installed now. I'm just gonna go into the codes projects and open VS Code from here. So we have this test.py already created. I'm just gonna go and type one simple Python command. Let's just print something. Let's say print hello world, and just save this. So this is a simple one-line Python command. Now we can go back, or actually we can open a terminal from VS Code. Just go to terminal, new terminal. It will open up the Ubuntu terminal that we have here. This is exactly the same terminal that we have, and we're already on the base. So we can go ahead and say Python and run that file using the name, enter, hello world, there you go. So we now ran our first Python program on VS Code.